Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Female Film Critics panel. And today I'm very excited. We are going across the pond. We are talking with London-based critic Katie Smith-Wong. And Katie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is your first time on the show. We like to give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got first excited about film. What's your journey like to become a critic?
Uh, well, um, I'm a sub-editor by day and
Uh-huh.
freelance film critic at night. I do it in my free time. I'm not,
Yes.
it's not my permanent job as much as I'd like it to be. My love for film kind of stemmed from my childhood because my parents, they used to own a Chinese takeaway or like like a delivery service at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they always were working. They needed something to entertain my older brother and I, and that was always videos. So we were watching not only Disney films, but like some questionable films like Enter the Dragon, RoboCop, and Doctor No at like 5 or 6. That was a bit, but that kind of ignited this love affair with film. That film seems to be an escape where you weren't judged by who you are or what you say. Because when I was growing up, I was subjected to a lot of racial discrimination
Yeah.
and bullying.
Mm-hmm.
So film for me was just free of judgment and just entertainment, escapism, a coping mechanism at times.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
sometimes it can convey the emotions that you want to convey, but can't for fear of looking weak or overly sentimental.
Yeah.
And in terms of being a film critic, it didn't really kick off until I went to university or college. So I was around 20 or so at the time, not knowing what I wanted to do later on. I went to university. I did Spanish with computing, very
Oh.
obscure degree, I know, but it was two subjects that I was quite good at. Anyway, I critiqued films in my spare time for the student newspaper, you know, had fun with it, but obviously because of school, I didn't really go anywhere. I had like a couple of reviews published, but nothing long term, especially as like I had to go away to Spain for 9 months as part of my degree. Fast forward several years, I moved to London, got into a normal office-based job, but by the time I hit 26, I was got back to that point where I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. And I remember a random phone call with my brother, my older brother. We were just talking about writing. And I was like, maybe I could go back into writing film, but I honestly never thought it would be a field that I could do even in a semi-professional manner. Because let's be honest, there are not many British Chinese film critics out there. So, but I kind of like just had to bite the bullet and just do
Yeah.
it. So I did a distance learning course or a remote learning course in writing. I joined Twitter because at the time I was not on Twitter and started following some sites, started to write for those, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
And here we are,
Uh,
12
I
years
can re
later.
I can relate to a lot of what you're saying because I would occasionally do a review here, a review there on my personal blog. But it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, like you were saying, that I was just so unhappy. It was like I got to find something that's fulfilling, something to hopefully make
Yeah.
me a little happy. And that's when I sort of got started writing more seriously. And then I actually was when I tore my MCL in my knee. And I needed something because I was basically immobile. I was like, I need something to do. And so I was just going to be writing the Disney canon. I'd always wanted to review the Disney canon. So that was my original goal. And then it just kind of, you went on from that,
Yeah.
which is just crazy. I found that to be the case that it's like one opportunity leads to another opportunity to leads to
Exactly,
doing
yeah.
this, and then now I'm podcasting, and it's just all kind of evolved.
Exactly. And I think with
Mhm.
film, it's a lot of people would say it's an easy route into get into like online journalism because
Uh-huh.
films are so accessible, whether it's by
Mm,
streaming or by TV or by cinema, because with we have a couple of chains that have an unlimited membership, so you can pay a
mm,
flat out fee for
right.
per month and you can watch as many films as you want. So you can watch, I've done it,
Hmm.
3 films in a day.
Right.
Very exhausting because it was at
Yeah.
3 different cinemas. But
Well,
it's
especially at Sundance. I've done as
yeah.
many as I've done even more than that. It's too much. I
My
can't.
limit is 5. I've done 5 in
Yeah.
one day, and that was from like 8:30 in the morning to around 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
rough.
recommend it. It's just like especially was I wasn't like commissioned to do one of the films. I just wanted to go because it's Asian cinema, which is what I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of which I wanted to see. But then it turned out to be an anthology of small, short films, and it started to
Yeah.
wear me down to like I'm too tired and I have to be up at 6 again tomorrow morning to get
Yeah.
into the next gala. So yeah, no, I wasn't gonna do that. I think my limit is like 3 or 4 per day.
Yeah. Those festival days can be rough. They
Yeah,
really can be rough. And a
definitely.
lot of times you're not in the best seats. They're kind of uncomfortable. It's hard.
I've been doing London Film Festival for around 10 or so years, and it is
It's fun, but it's
it's
hard.
so much fun because you see so many of your friends there, even friends in like the film Twitter community. They're just full of podcasters, YouTubers, journalists, critics, everyone. But
Yeah.
you just get so tired by around the middle of the second week because it's a 2 week
Right.
festival. And by that point, you were just kind of finishing all the galas, you're kind of rounding up your coverage and you're writing up all the reviews that you have to do.
Yeah.
But it's just like, where's the coffee? I need the coffee. It's just
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
And
Oh, where's
there's
the Wi-Fi password? That kind of thing. It can be it's a tough couple of weeks, but it's so rewarding because
yeah.
of the people you meet and the movies you see.
I agree. And there's one at Sundance. There's one venue called the Grand, which they didn't use this year, but I always tell people like, don't eat any of the food at the Grand. It all tastes like dirt. Like I'm like, how did they manage to make every single food item taste like dirt? I don't know, but they
Oh
do. Like,
no.
don't do it. Go over.
Well, we have like yeah, because for several years we some of the LFF screenings they took place at like 8 in the morning. So people, myself included, start queuing around 6. Nowhere's open at 6 a.m. in Leicester Square. And sometimes we would go to McDonald's around in Leicester Square because it's 24-hour. But recently they had a
Yeah.
Greg's, which is kind of like a bakery kind of place that does sausage rolls and pasties and sausage
Right.
sandwiches and stuff. It's like, yeah, we're gonna go there. We just go like, who needs something? Who's on a coffee run? I want something. It's just, yeah, the mornings are the toughest because you
Yeah.
never know if you're gonna get that tea or coffee that you so desperately need,
Yeah.
especially if it's a long film like Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh yeah.
That was at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was just like, oh God, all right, I'm gonna need something to eat and drink because I don't think I can last until what 11:30 in the morning from 6. So
Yeah. This last time I went to the New York Film Festival, I've been a couple times, and I swear like the only thing on the mind of those festival planners was slow cinema. Like every movie was like, I mean, there were some good movies like Perfect Days and Taste of Love and things like that, but still it was
oh,
just like
slow cinema.
every Janet Planet, they were all like these really like,
Oh my
slice of
gosh.
life, no plot, kind of.
I just oh, those can be the toughest things to go
Yeah,
sit
they
through
really can.
because you're especially with festivals, you're not sure what you're gonna get. And you
Yeah.
always kind of want something to keep up the momentum.
Yeah, you want a variety, you know?
Exactly. I remember watching a piece of slow cinema. It was just about a woman trying to chase her son in Hong Kong during the protests, but it was just following her. So there was no
Right.
action, and it was just the angle was the camera was very far away, so you're just following her when like you hear the protest in the background, but it was
Yeah.
just so slow because she was just walking everywhere. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
It's really rough. Yeah.
oh God. It was just
Have
I
you
did
got
do that
yeah.
unsurprisingly.
Have you gotten to see Touch yet this year?
Untouched.
It's called just Touch.
I
It's this
don't
movie.
think so. I'm
You
not sure if
have
it's
to see it. You will love it. It's an Icelandic based, it's from the directors from Iceland, and it's
yeah.
about this man who in March 2020, this
I
man,
have read this. I've read
yeah,
about
he
it.
goes
It
over, like, he's trying to find his lost love. They
in
met
Japan,
in
right? Yeah.
London when they were young, and so you see the young part of them, and then you see him and them reunite. So you see both plots happening at the same time, and they met working in her family's restaurant, Japanese restaurant. So then, so there's, I don't know, I just think it's really a movie. And I thought it was so cool too, because it was the first time I've seen the pandemic used in like an interesting way, because it kind of added this layer of like, he has this ticking clock, but like the whole world kind of has this ticking clock in a way,
Yeah.
and so anyway, highly recommend that. I think you would really like it.
I did see this actually.
Oh, you did?
Advertised. No, no, I did see. No, I saw the trailer
Oh, the trailer.
advertised on my
Yeah.
timeline. Sorry, but it might be something that could be of interest because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
actually involved in a community called Milk Tea that
Hmm.
champions Asian cinema.
Oh,
So
you love it.
it so
You'll
it
love it.
caters to like Asians in London as well. I think they're trying to branch out to other parts of the UK, but they champion you Asian cinema. So they've had screenings of Perfect Days, Raging Grace,
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere all at once,
Right.
obviously. But they've done like quieter hits as well, like YOLO, which is like a Chinese comedy that was
Mm.
at a point the highest grossing film in China until Barbie took over, I think.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
but it's about a woman who dreams of being a boxer, but but it's the it stars the director who also wrote it and made it over 2 years. But then you see the transformation from an overweight character to a fighter, essentially.
Oh, huh.
It's those kind of
Yeah,
films. So, but this Touch sounds like something that they could
yeah,
champion.
I think
And that's
so.
the kind of thing that I wanted to kind of do while in my position, because, like I said, there aren't many British Asian critics out there.
Yeah,
What I'm aiming to do is highlight more Asian cinema in the UK, especially with other Asian
yeah,
cinematic distributors. That's
definitely.
kind of like my main thing.
Hmm.
Especially because the Asia perspective isn't really sought after or really available in term within the critics in the UK.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
kind of something I wanted to highlight
Yeah.
in the
Well, I'm
position.
glad, because we need that. We need that perspective.
Mm,
We need to hear
yeah.
we need to hear critical analysis from all different voices.
Yeah,
I think it's
especially
really
like with
important.
Everything Everywhere. I know I talk about
Yeah.
this film. Everyone who knows me, I talk about this film until I'm blue in the face. I adore
Yeah.
that film because it just echoed so much of uh my childhood, not just my childhood, but how I connected with my mother. And it was that
Mm.
kind of perspective that I was able to bring forward in not just my review, but other pieces that
Hmm.
podcasts, obviously. So it's that kind of thing that I wanted to share because
Yeah.
everyone is different. You just,
Did you have a part of the multiverse that you liked better than another
oh my
part?
God. It was the idea of, I did kind of resonate with everything. Is the idea is that nothing you will do is ever good enough in the eyes of your parents, especially your mother.
Mm. Hmm.
And that you're always kind of treated differently if you're a girl, because I remember when they kind of flash back to that part where James Hong, Evelyn's dad, sorry, gives birth. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's a girl." I was like, Yeah, I feel that
Oh,
kind of like because I have two brothers. I'm the middle child, so
mm,
I always kind of felt a bit treated differently. And then when I didn't get to the profession that I don't think that I think my parents wanted for me, it was that kind of subtle disappointment that yeah, I failed them again.
yeah.
Are you a fan of Rachel's reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that the I really connected, I think, the most with the even though I'm not married, I thought the way it dived into their marriage, I thought was really interesting in the
Mm.
movie. And it was cool just as a film fan, like the homages for In the Mood of Love and things like that. But that she had they both kind of taken each other for granted, but
Yeah,
particularly her had taken him for granted.
because they had different ideas of what their lives would be, but they didn't understand, to realize that there were other possibilities out there
Yeah.
if they wanted to. And being able to see it through, through the multiverse, through different angles makes you realize that, yeah, life isn't perfect, but you may do
Yeah.
because that's what you've done kind of way. But what I've also learned during the pandemic is that nothing should really stop you from doing what you want to do. We've got, you know, if I rewind 20 years ago, none of the possibilities that we have now, like talking online,
Right.
publishing online, wouldn't have been available to us.
The
I don't
same.
think I
Yeah.
would have been able to like be a journalist because, I could just see my English teacher's face saying, "You want to be a journalist?" That in that way is like, "You're not white," kind of way. Even though, yeah. But now I think there's just so many more possibilities for people to just do different things, chase
Yeah.
different things. Even like, professions that you might think you're too old for, you're not suitable for. What I've always told people, my best friend included, because I kind of encouraged her to take up a new branch of medicine. I just told her that, age is just a number.
Yeah.
Nothing should really stop you from doing what you want to do. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I tell everybody.
Well, and it's so nice too now that you don't have to wait for somebody to give you the opportunity. You can just do it. You can just
Mhm.
like I can just make this podcast. I can just do what interests me. I don't have to wait for somebody to be like, okay, I approve of that, and you can monetize your own content, your own and you can make it so basically nobody can fire you from your job because you are your job or part-time job at least,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
really nice. It's freeing. It's
It
freeing.
is. It just kind of opens up this new spectrum of opportunities that people could just explore.
Yeah.
And that's quite a nice thing, especially
Yeah.
not in what we do,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to just kind of get lost in a sea of voices. But when you make yourself heard and bring something unique, that's what people will
Yeah.
remember you for.
So, did you have a film that particularly in those movies you were watching as a kid that you first loved that really stood out for you?
Um, I think Enter the Dragon because that was one of the very first Chinese films. Well, I say Chinese films. It was one of the very first films that starred a Chinese actor. And for me, it normalized how Asians were seen in Hollywood seen because you have an Asian character who's speaking English, even with an accent, but he's not treated differently. He's not, he isn't, looked down upon, and he is leading the charge amid, a multicultural cast. And that was what I kind of hoped maybe in my youth, that was what the world was going to be, that we wouldn't be seen as different. I didn't think myself as different until I moved to another area when I was 8 and the bullying started. So for me, Enter the Dragon was that kind, and it also introduced me to martial arts cinema, which I adore. So for me, it was just that was like the anchor that kickstarted that fascination with not only with cinema, but how Asians are represented in cinema. I mean, if they were treating Asians by that point right, why aren't they doing it now?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one to pick as your foundation movie. It's a classic that in the action is incredible in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so visceral and like real.
I know. And
feeling.
imagine watching that when you're 5.
Yeah.
It's like,
It'd be exciting.
oh God. It's like I watch like Shawbrother films and like they're so slow. They're just mechanical. I just want someone to just punch them in the face and just move on. It's just, you don't need to have 15 moves before someone goes down.
Yeah.
That kind of approach.
Do you feel like you had a movie as a critic that you really like kind of found your voice, that you really enjoyed, or that you really felt like you championed?
I think Raging Grace. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a gothic it's a gothic kind of horror, starring Paris Arcilla. It actually was premiered at South by Southwest, and it won 2 prizes. So it's about a Filipino.
Oh, just last year.
What? Yeah,
just last year. Yeah.
So it's about a Filipino mother and her daughter, and she gets hired to take care of this elderly man, sorry, let me start this point. Before it premiered at South by Southwest, the producer, who's actually a co-founder of Milk Tea, approached me saying, "We've got this film. Would you like to go watch it?" I said, "Yeah," and it was before the premiere, so it was a cast and crew premiere.
Oh, wow.
So it was a bit intimidating. It's like, you want me to be there? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Screening was rescheduled. I was like, okay, fine. And then I'm not sure, a few months later, the director, Paris, actually got in touch with me saying, "Do you want to come to the screening?" I was like, yeah, okay. So I didn't know it was a horror. And I don't do well with horror. So I was very tense all the way through. But then again, the film is really well crafted. It's simple in its execution, but it's really good in creating this unsettling environment, especially highlighting how the Filipinos in healthcare, because the character was a nurse, and they were not treated well during the pandemic because of xenophobia. So seeing that on screen, and then just seeing all the praise it got, not only from South by Southwest, but from other festivals as well. I think it showed up Fright Fest as well. It was very, very rewarding. And I was kind of like, it was just saying to people, watch this film. And it only came out in December in the UK. And I was just like saying to my friends, go watch this movie. It's at the Prince Charles Cinema, which is one of the London's leading independent cinemas. It's going to be this and that. Go watch it. And even Mark Kermode, who's arguably the UK's leading critic, championed it.
Nice.
But to be at that point before its premiere and saying that this film is amazing is one to watch. I'm very proud to be, to be a champion of that movie, especially because we need more voices like that.
Definitely. So you write for Flick Feast
a lot of places.
site. So for Flick Feast is a big one for you.
Yeah.
How did you get connected with them? And when you write for them, do you request I want to review this film, or do they say we're sending you to review this one?
Flick Feast was one of the sites that I got in touch with early on. I was looking for an outlet, just needed somewhere to publish reviews and such. I got in touch with the editor, Robin, and he said, okay, just send me stuff, whatever. And then I started to get lots more invites to distributor events, press screenings, and I always wrote for Flip Feast, and that's how it kind of solidified my position there. I'm the reviews editor, so I kind of
Oh, nice.
oversee quite a lot, especially because I'm one of the very few critics who write for the site based in London, where most of the press screenings take place.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's easy for me to like be able to attend a screening and just write for it, especially with London Film Festival as well. It's easier for me to attend because I don't have to pay for additional travel or accommodation costs. It's just technically an everyday kind of thing.
Yeah, that's me in Sundance. It's right here. So
oh God, I love
nice.
Sundance. I've been doing it remotely for the last few years. Oh my God, it's just a blessing to do it.
Yeah, they still have a pretty good remote. Like a lot of the other festivals have removed it entirely, but they have pretty decent in Sundance.
Yeah. When they first started, oh my God, I could not stop talking about it because it was just so well organized.
Yeah.
The platform was incredible. The fact that you could watch stuff, reserve stuff, but not have to watch it.
Yeah.
Nothing was geo-blocked. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, and they even had like all the panels recorded, things like that. Yeah,
but now I've like last couple of years they've started to dwindle the films that they have available. I mean, this year I didn't see many of the big films that were presented, like Love Lies Bleeding was one of them I wanted to watch, but I couldn't watch it. I did manage to watch a couple of great films like Black Box Diaries, A Brief History of a Family, incredible.
That's good.
And obviously, an audience winner. Another Asian film.
Yeah, they're better than most of the festivals, but still, it's not what it was in 2020.
I'm in two minds of attending next year because South by Southwest will have its inaugural festival in London. So I might keep the time off that I used for Sundance to just go to that and see what it's going to be like.
Obviously. Well, if you do, let me know because I'm right here.
Oh yeah, I'll be like, especially as it's like it's in Shoreditch, which is quite a very hip kind of area. So I'm looking for it's a very good setting to host South by Southwest. I'm quietly excited. I think I'll be more excited when I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I went to South by Southwest this year and I got horrible allergies. I was miserable sick. So it was such a bummer. I didn't even post reviews for like I took all the it wasn't COVID, it was just allergies. It wasn't catching. But still I was just not feeling good. So it was just hard, that. Yeah, so it was a bummer.
Festival.
Yeah, I didn't even review the last like 4 films that I saw because I was just like, it's not fair. I'm just not feeling well enough.
I've been to Austin actually. I went there in 2004 and I've always wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Not just for the festival, but because it's such a cool city. With the music and everything.
It's really fun. Well, and it was so weird because this is the second time I've been to the festival and I didn't get sick the first time. So for whatever reason, I guess the allergens are more strong this time, or who knows. But it was a bummer. It was like, and I had after the South by Southwest, I had this whole like 4 days planned with my best friend from college who lives in San Antonio. But I was just feeling so rotten. It just.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the thing with travel. Like travel is fun, but I would say for every great trip, you have like a couple not great trips where everything goes wrong or you don't feel good or you have bad weather or you kind of have to like it's still worth it, but you have to kind of take the good trips to get the bad trip. I mean, you have to take the bad trips
You
to
have
get
to
the good.
suffer a lot to enjoy
Yeah.
yourself a bit.
Yeah, you really do. But I am excited. I should find out soon. What day's today? I should find out today, actually, if I got into New York Film Festival. So that hopefully I
Fingers
assume
crossed for you.
yeah, fingers crossed. I've gotten in the last 3 years, so I would imagine I would, but who knows? You never
That's
know.
another festival that I'd like to do because
Yeah.
it's New York. Love New
Well, the
York.
hard part about the New York Film Festival is that it's so long. It's like for the press screenings last for like 3 weeks. So obviously I can't do that. So I have to pick, you have to pick a weekend.
Wow, 3 weeks.
I mean, it's great for the people who live there in New
Oh
York.
yeah. And
That's awesome, but
when you have to pay for travel and
yeah,
accommodation and food and everything,
it adds up.
yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Jennifer Snow and her new book, All Signs Point to Malibu. This delightful and steamy new rom-com asks the question, what happens when the mystical convinces you to break up your ex's wedding? Think My Best Friend's Wedding, but woo! Haley Harris is a successful life coach that has visions of the future. When one of her visions predicts a not-so-happy ending for her ex Liam and his brand new fiance, Haley sees it as a sign and plans to launch Operation Breakup. But before she has a chance, Liam's sexy, irritating best man starts messing with her plans. Will she push forward to sabotage the wedding, or will a speculative twist change fate forever? You can buy All Signs Point to Malibu this week at your favorite bookstore, or use the affiliate link below and find out more about Jennifer at jennifersnowauthor.com. That's jennifersnowauthor.com. Yeah. Well, I was looking through your reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and I noticed that you've been pretty positive this year.
Yeah, I found
mostly fresh films. I'm the reverse. I've been a grumpy pants. I hardly liked anything.
I do find that I enjoyed most of the films that I've watched this year.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to hate something.
There haven't been that many movies that I've hated, but I've just been kind of underwhelmed by a lot of them.
I think that's it. There's just a lot of blockbusters, which I do enjoy,
Yeah.
I will admit, but there aren't like as many quiet ones that I like Janet Planet, for instance. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Did not like it.
Oh, you didn't like it? Yeah.
No. And Firebrand that we talked about.
Oh
recently.
yeah, Firebrand. I did like it. I am a sucker for those period piece, movies and shows. But mostly, I mean, I did think it was a little boring. It's not like great, but I just thought like he transformed so much to Henry VIII.
Yeah.
And
which I will take. I admit.
Yeah. I was like, he looks exactly like that painting. I couldn't believe it. Like,
but as a Brit who's seen countless Victorian adaptations and seen so many people try, become Henry VIII or Anne Boleyn or Catherine of Aragon or any of the six wives, I was just a bit like, oh God, it's something it's something that you could probably do in like watch at school.
It was kind of dry. I'll give you that. What was interesting though was I saw the Shakespeare Henry VIII at the Utah Shakespeare Festival, and which is basically like a propaganda play because Elizabeth was their patron, and so it was very and so it's kind of fascinating on that level to like watch. It's not performed very often. In the over 60 years of the festival, it's only the third time that they've done it. So because it is kind of dry, but it is sort of fascinating to look at a propaganda play from that time, and the way that they portrayed, and especially if you watch Firebrand and you see him as this total brute, like this beast of a man, and then watch this propaganda play from the time where he's portrayed as this like hero, kind of, it's fascinating. Yeah.
And that's not the Henry we know.
Yeah, right. yeah. I don't know. I just found like I didn't like. We had similar views on the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. That's one we agreed on. I didn't like it, and I thought it was like so self-indulgent You're like,
Yeah.
at the end, like everybody gets to have a proton pack. Everybody gets to be a Ghostbuster. Let's just like, there were so many characters. There were so many. It was just
Unnecessary.
It was bad.
There was so much nostalgia in Afterlife that they thought they could get away with that kind of formula
Yeah.
again. But nostalgia can only get you so far. If you don't have anything fresh to inject into it, then it just becomes stale. And if you're going to revive Ghostbusters, you need something else that is not completely dependent on the original films.
Yeah, it was just flat. It just was not good.
Yeah.
It was not good.
I just thought it was like Day After Tomorrow. New York gets frozen. Just watch Day After Tomorrow.
And it wasn't funny.
No.
If you're gonna do a Ghostbusters movie, the least of all, like, have us laugh.
Yeah, I mean, like Afterlife, I almost crap my pants in the opening. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did not see that coming, so I was like, yeah, oh my God. I was just like, I was freaking out because it was like, because that was that moment in the original film, spoiler alert, that just scarred my mind. I can't get that image, that scene out of my mind. When I think of scary films in my youth, that will be the thing I go to. The chair.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
Well, I wanted to talk about your piece on Bridgerton. So, and you are pretty positive, but you also talk about just the weaknesses in the writing, and I completely agree. I was so disappointed by it. I was really excited about it, and I just can't believe how much they messed it up, especially that part 2. I just, like, it just boggles my mind that anybody in that writers room, that Jess and the whole team, that they thought that having a sad wedding where they're not speaking to each other and Colin sleeping on the sofa for 2 episodes was what we wanted. Like, how in the world did they think? And it makes me so frustrated because they had everything. They had a couple with incredible chemistry. They have all the resources, to do it. And I think that they were trying to give Penelope this, like, girl boss moment where she, like, stands up to the tone. She doesn't need Colin. You don't know what it's like to be a woman, kind of a thing. But it wasn't sexy. It wasn't fun. It wasn't the show. It wasn't, like, I don't want them to be miserable on their wedding.
It was sexy for like a couple of episodes.
Yeah, and then
but
the
then
last
it was
3.
not as much as the previous 2 seasons. It's not. No. I think because I said in my reviews that because Colin and Penelope have been friends, there's always been something there. The connection was always there. But seeing it from friends to lovers is this trope that we've always seen before. In comparison to Simon and Daphne, we have the sex and Anthony and Kate. There's a sexual tension that's brewing underneath that helps propel the series further, and that's what helped with the the sexiness of it. This
I just feel like in the book, when he finds about Whistledown in the book, he's upset with her, of course, but he never deviates from loving her. He always loves her, and he would never say something like, "When you entrapped me." That made me so mad. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Especially because her mother had just said that, and he'd stood up for her, and he what I think would have been what I would have done if they were listening to me is I would have had him get in that carriage after they have that kiss in episode 7. They get in the carriage, say, "I am still upset with you, but I promised I would always stand up for you, and I always will, and I love you no matter what." If he had done something like that, that would have been so romantic and swoon-worthy, and it would have still continued on. All the other plot points could have been the same, but we wouldn't have had sad wedding, and we wouldn't have had him sleeping on the sofa. And
I think that was the thing, wasn't it? Because they needed something like the will they, won't they?
Yeah, you needed that reconciliation to just begin, not finish, but just begin much, 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 much sooner. And I was so frustrated by it. It's like, how did you mess it up? I'm so mad.
Well, they've got a couple of years to do series 4. So hopefully, if they're watching, they'll
I
take
think
your
they know.
criticisms into account.
Yes, I think they know they messed it up. But there's 2 reasons I think they know they messed it up. First, they only gave 6 episodes to critics.
Right.
Because
Yes.
I think that they knew if critics had 7 and 8, the reviews would be worse. I think they knew that. And because it absolutely, I lowered my score. Absolutely. I was like, are you kidding me?
It was not as high as I'd hoped.
Yes.
But,
I think they
watching it
knew.
as both a fan and like a critic, watching those early screeners, I was just like so anticipated. It didn't stop me from wanting to watch the next one.
Yeah. But I was just like, that's weird. Why would you give 6? Why wouldn't you give 4 and 4? Like there's something going on with that 7 and 8 that they don't, and then the other thing is that I just think the fact that they've already announced both of the leads for season 4 when it's supposedly not coming for 2 years, I'm like, that just feels weird. I feel like they know that people are upset because I don't know anybody that liked 7 and 8. Like episode 7 and 8 sucked. And so so I think they know that. And so now they're trying to like change the conversation. Let's get them talking about season 4.
I think it's also because I think the early announcements could have been for a couple of factors. One, everyone loves Benedict. I don't know.
Even though that threesome plot was so stupid. Oh my gosh. That was so dumb. I was like, are you kidding me?
Some of my friends loved it. But anyway.
You have Colin and Pence. You have Colin on the sofa, and yet then you switch back to your meaningless threesome with people that we don't care about, or like what?
Anyway, so yeah,
yeah.
Everyone was crying out for like Benedict to have his own series, for him to be lead. So that's one. 2, I think there was a quiet, maybe response to like highlight more. This is what I would like to think. Highlight more Asian characters as leads. In period, we've already established. We've had a variety. We have different love interests. Of different types in the last couple of series.
Yeah.
But if you have an Asian one, that's just like another tick. That's furthering the colorblind casting that they've.
Are you excited about Sophie?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I'm always excited. Especially it's like, you don't see many Asian actors in those kind of roles, especially a lead role.
Yeah.
They always like most of the times they're kind of reduced to supporting ones or maids or someone lower class. But to see one as a love interest of the main character, that's what I'm excited for.
Well, what would you say do you think is like an underrated film from this year that people should check out that maybe they haven't seen?
I think I mentioned it before, but oh my God, I loved A Brief History of a Family. It's not available. I don't think it's available yet in the UK. I'm not sure if it's in the US, but I watched it at Sundance and I called it this year's Parasite. I think it's that good.
Ooh.
And then you also had Black Box Diaries, which is like She Said in Japan. It follows a Japanese reporter.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was good.
Yeah, I loved it.
I saw Brief History of a Family too. Yeah. Those are both good.
Both good films, but I don't know when they're coming out. So all I could really do is just say, watch these when they come out.
I mean, I thought it was a very strong slate at Sundance. I only gave Rotten to 2 movies. I said 28 films. So it was
wow. Sorry.
Yeah, it was like the opposite of. It was the opposite of my mainstream. This has been my year for like indie films because I really have been a grumpy goose. I didn't like Ghostbusters. I didn't like Godzilla. Godzilla X Kong. I love Godzilla -1, but not Godzilla X Kong. I didn't like The Fall Guy. I didn't like Apes. I was meh on Furiosa. I didn't like Bad Boys. I didn't like Twisters.
I would like to point out, even though I put fresh on the majority of these, some of them are not some of them I wasn't overly keen on, but I more like tolerated it.
Right. I get that.
Hated it.
I get that too. Because like I did go fresh on Garfield, but I didn't think it was like amazing.
Oh my God. No, sorry. No, because I was like, I remember my friends going to the breast screening and they were not impressed by it.
Yeah,
At
it's
all.
not amazing, but I thought the animation, the action, the way it was well done, and I was like, it was fun enough. I don't know,
Enough. Enough. Oh yeah.
but I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. Like
And I
that is
haven't seen Borderlands or I haven't no, I have not seen
Borderlands was
Borderlands or
bad.
Godzilla X Kong or anything because I was at something else. I
Yeah,
was
it was
watching something
bad.
else. So I feel like I've skipped a,
Yeah,
missed a bullet.
Godzilla X Kong, it like they spend so much time on Skull Island, and you're just like, why are we here? Godzilla's not even in 45 an hour of this movie. But but did you like Godzilla -1?
Love it. I
Oh, it's so
absolutely love
good.
it.
Yeah.
It's just I was on a promo. I had a promo with my name on it. I was so stoked because
Oh, yeah.
not many of them have my name. They just normally include the star rating, but this one had my name on it. So I was so happy
Oh, that's
about that.
cool.
Anyway, no, God, that film, God, it's so good.
Yeah. It was
So
so
good.
good. It was emotional. I was crying.
Yeah,
It got me.
I did not expect it to love it as
Hmm.
much as I
Same.
did. Because, with Godzilla, it's like, oh God, it's just going to be one of those films that Godzilla just destroys everything and there's no development or anything. But this one had heart. It had, it was thrilling. It was different to all the other Godzilla films that I've seen recently. Much,
Hmm.
much better.
Yeah. What did you think about the whole Barbenheimer phenomenon? How did you feel about that?
Oh my God, I don't know what it was like in the US, but it was insane in London. It
Yeah.
was just, I have a WhatsApp chat called Barbies. And we call each other Barbies. It's just loads of female film critics.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
anyway, so we just call each other Barbie. Hi, Barbie. It's just like the press screening was so much fun. We were all dressed in pink, men
Oh,
included,
yeah.
and I was just like, and it was like loads of people all obviously doing the Barbieheimer thing, watching Barbie and Oppenheimer at the same day, and they were like, "Which do you what? Wait, because we'd already had the press screenings by that point."
Yes.
So I've had some people have always asked, "Is like, which should I watch first,
Right.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?" So I was like, "Watch Oppenheimer first. Barbie helps kind of lift lift you a bit afterwards." But both of them are amazing pieces of
I
cinema.
agree. I would say watch Oppenheimer first and then end with Barbie. Feel
Mm,
more optimistic, positive.
yeah,
That would be
it's like
my.
you feel like you need to have like the silliness of Barbie to just counteract the somberness and
Uh-huh.
intensity of
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. But people were going nuts. And I remember when Barbie had its UK premiere, people were queuing like for miles just to get into the ticket to the
Yeah.
red carpet area. It was absolutely insane. Everyone was getting into it, and there were like different shirts and Team Oppenheimer, Team Barbie,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. It was so
It
crazy.
made
And
me really happy because my worry was when they first announced the project, I'm like, oh, people are going to discount it just because I just feel like there's this whole side of our society that kind of discounts anything that's seen as like too girly or pink or feminine or that kind of a thing, and sometimes that's even from the actual feminists themselves, discounting that. And I just thought she did such a brilliant job of like threading that needle of being like having something to say and being interesting and something to talk about while still being overall entertaining and not
yeah,
feeling like, oh, I'm here for a sermon. It was just entertaining. It was
as
funny. It
well
was,
as bringing all those little touches that we've,
yeah,
girls growing
songs.
up. So it's not just songs, but how Barbie is presented, like
Hmm.
heels not on the floor, the hands are like this, and all like
Yeah.
milk carton doesn't come out of the milk doesn't come out of the carton, the water doesn't come out of the shower. All
Hmm.
these things that
It was
kind of
fun.
tap into your childhood of playing with Barbie dolls or whatever,
Yeah.
and they
Well,
just
the only thing
got it
though
pitch
is
perfect.
if it was connecting with real life, there'd be way more weird Barbies. Way more. because I don't know anybody that didn't end up like cutting hair and moving things around and like you always do
I'm
that
sure
with your
there are. It's just
parties.
like tucked away in a Barbie land somewhere else.
Maybe,
A weird Barbie land.
yeah. But it was a fun time because those were two blockbuster entertainment, mainstream entertainment that were like had a clear voice, clear directorial stamp, were bold, ambitious, creative, and that was exciting to see in
It's also fun to see people go back to the cinema just so that
yeah,
people can enjoy it with other fans. Admittedly, some people just kind of just made it as an excuse to just behave like idiots in the
sure, of
cinema.
course.
At the same time, it just helped encourage people to go back into the cinema and watch it with other people who are after the same
Yeah.
experience.
Did you see on Instagram there was a whole thing and on TikTok it's like two guys that come up to oh, so you're here to see Oppenheimer. They're both wearing pink. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm here to see Oppenheimer. You look like you're here to see Barbie.
Wow. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Pink suits. That could have just been like, a lot more subtle than Barbie Oppenheimer on the same
Yeah.
or Team Oppenheimer and then Team Barbie on the back.
And they're like, Barbie, it's a great movie. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a great movie. I don't know, it's funny back and forth. I'll have to send it to you. It's pretty good. But yeah, it was a fun year. Last year, I think we were spoiled because I think last year was the last year of like movies that had been held over from the pandemic. And
Yeah.
so there was just like all of these movies that were like cream, that were released, and it was a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah,
I worry
definitely.
as bad as this year has been, which I think it's been very bad. I worry next year's going to be even worse because I think we're going to get the full results of these strikes. We really won't feel them until next year
Yeah.
in the movies. So I think next year is
You
one.
say that, but it's like, even though we're halfway through the year, I'm not sure what festival films what other festival
That's
films
true.
to look out for because I'm planning ahead for London Film Festival, which takes place in October, but I'm not sure what to look out for
Yeah.
because there's not many films out that have been shown in festivals scream out to me saying you have to watch this. I mean, you've got, yeah.
Did you
So,
see Ghostlight? It's have you seen Ghostlight yet?
no.
Yeah, I would look up
No.
for that. That's really good.
Oh, I've had people talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've not seen it yet.
Another one that I liked, it's a little messy, it's not perfect, but I did enjoy it, is called Your Monster.
Okay.
It's kind of it's like a sort of a modern take on Beauty and the Beast, kind of, but with horror,
okay.
with some horror feel. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh, it's a fun horror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's fun. It's because I know she didn't like Lisa Frankenstein. It's kind of that same idea, but I think a little bit better
Okay.
executed. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll look for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. But yeah, I was going to ask you, do you have any of the upcoming fall releases that you're most looking forward to?
I don't know, really coming out late soon. That's really bad.
Which one?
I don't know that many. That's really bad.
Well, what about Wicked? Are you excited for Wicked? How do you feel?
I've not seen the stage show.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going on. So I don't really know. Plus it's just another musical for the cinema.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it translates well. I mean, but I have faith in John M. Chu because he did In the Heights,
Mm-hmm.
and it does look fabulous.
Yeah. What do you think about this Joker Part 2? How do you feel?
I'm in two
Another
minds.
musical.
Is it though?
Well, they're pretending that it's not, but it's so funny because what's his name? Todd Phillips, he was out there saying like, oh, they just occasionally break into song, and they were like, yeah, like a musical.
I mean, the first film was okay. I just did not like the idea of how mental health was portrayed. I
Yeah,
did
I agree.
Joaquin Phoenix's performance, and that was the kind of only redeeming part of it. But am I really interested, or am I fascinated about the continuation of this approach that I did not really enjoy? No, I don't think so. I mean, I probably will end up watching it just to see, but I'm not overly excited about it.
But two that I'm really looking forward to is I'm really looking forward to Power Ballad. It's the new film from John Carney, who I love his movies. And it's got Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas in it. And
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm really, really looking forward to that. And then I think that Wolves looks really good with George Clooney, Brad Pitt. Yeah, because
I love the remake of Ocean's 11. The original was just weird.
Right.
It's but they have a certain chemistry that I wish that they do more films.
Yeah.
So no, I'm looking forward to that. I'm watching Beetlejuice next week.
Oh yeah.
So I'm interested to see how many CGI scenes they'll use, because apparently they don't use that many.
I know. I mean, I haven't liked a Tim Burton movie in a while, so that's my bigger reservation.
Yeah, that's true.
But the trailers have been pretty good.
It does look like Dark Shadows. Like, you know what? It does look like any other film that he's made.
Dark Shadows was so bad.
Oh God, I watched that in the cinema, and I paid to watch that. It was part of like one of my unlimited films, but it was just like, really? This film? This sucks. Anyway.
Yeah, it was bad. He's had so many bad. Like, I hated that Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Oh my gosh.
I switched that halfway through.
That was horrible. Yeah, he's had a bunch of bad ones, but we like to, before we end our interview, we like to give you we have a rapid fire round, which is some fun get to know you questions. So first one, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Ice cream flavor, raspberry ripple.
Oh, good. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Okay, me too. What music are you into?
Cheesy pop. Nice. And I'll stand by it.
Good. Okay, what is your go-to date night food?
Date night food. We always have pizza.
Nice.
Pizza's a good food.
Yeah, that's a good one. What is your go-to date night activity if you're going out doing something?
We'll always eat out. There's so many restaurants in London to just explore. Yeah. It's always fun to just go to somewhere new.
Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
I have 2 cats, so cats.
Okay, good. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Nice. Me too. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
I think Christmas, because my family gets together and we just have fun for like a few days and just relax.
It's hard to beat Christmas because it's like a whole season.
I know.
It's like months.
New Year, but it's so stressful. And I don't get that much time off because it's not like, still have to work. Right. And I only end up spending 1.5 days with my parents, even though I know people across China travel. You've heard of the Great Migration,
right? Where
millions, and I mean millions of Chinese people travel for the Chinese New Year, and they take off weeks, spend with their families. I can't do that here,
right?
So, yeah. Christmas.
All right, last question. What is your favorite romantic movie?
When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, it's a good choice. Good choice. Very good. You did it. Answered all the questions.
Yay!
Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. This has been so much fun. If people want to follow your writing, follow you, how should they do that?
They can find me on Twitter or Instagram, Katie Smith-Wong.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. And also check out the full playlist of Female Film Critics Panel episodes. It's our 61st episode, which is wild. It's very exciting. And and if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. Really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store. You can get Female Film Critic Panel our logo shirts. So check that out. And thanks so much, Katie. It was so great to get to meet you. And we'll talk to y'all later.